I hopped on the Blender train back in 2012, and oh boy did I fall in love with creating new characters and enjoyed the challenge of creating hairs for those characters. Sure, there were times where it felt like styling hair with a butter knife. A bit limiting, but it did its magic. All the while, I had my fingers crossed, dreaming of that ultimate hair tool upgrade. They say never meet your heroes. Well, guess what? I met mine, and its name is Geometry Node, and it was a match made in digital heaven. It was like having a superpower for hair design. Meeting my hero though was a bit like being handed the control to a spaceship when I just wanted was a cool bicycle. I mean, all heroes have their quirks, and we just have to live with it. I was handed lemons, but now it's time to make lemonade out of it. I'm presenting to you Hairbreak version 2. Hairbreak is your ultimate hairstyling sidekick for Blender. Think of it as a magic translator, turning the intricate lingo of Geometry Node into simple, artist-friendly chatter. So sit tight. In this video, we're deep diving, unraveling the wonders of Hairbreak. We're looking from installing the add-on to a real-world example of how we can use it in our various projects. To access Hairbreak, you'll first need to purchase and download it from Blender Market. Once you have it, you can go to your Edit, Preference, and install your add-on. So don't unzip it, just leave it as it is, and we can go to where we have it downloaded and select to install. So we click on Install and save our user preference. If you click on the end panel, you can see your Hairbreak add-on located here. To see its interface, you want to create a new object. Instead of having the object selected, you can see the interface for Hairbreak. With the interface open, you will notice we have two sections. So the first section is the hair curve menu, and we have the modifiers menu. The hair curve menu consists of all your project management tools, basically where you can add hair, you can delete hair, you can hide hair, you can duplicate and rename all your hair system for your character. Let's go ahead and click on this plus icon to add a new hair system. This adds an empty hair system like you would if you select your object of add empty hair. But it does this automatically for you and makes it easy for you to access anytime you want. You can easily disable the viewport, selection, or render visibility of your added hair system. You can also click on the sculpt icon to take you right into the sculpt mode. You can use this to duplicate the curve if you already have a curve system in it, which I would go ahead and show you. So let's go ahead and add a simple hair strand. If we click on it to duplicate, it's going to duplicate this hair curve, making us have two, as you would naturally assume. In a situation where you want to duplicate it and have it empty without no hair, you can use this second duplication and duplicate it. It's going to create a new hair system, but this time it has no hair in it. With the minus icon, you can use to delete hair from your scene. You can access the hair settings by either selecting the object or selecting the hair curve. So you can select the hair curve or select the object to be able to access it. For this add-on, it associates the object automatically with the hair which you select. Another important function in this management system is the spin icon. This spin icon allows you to always have your settings visible in every location, in any operation you're running. If we duplicate this, you can notice each object changes the interface due to the fact that one doesn't have any hair system and one has. But if we have this selected pin, if we switch the object, we can notice it remains consistent. If you're going to add a new hair system to this object, it's advised you unpin it and then add a new system, and then you can be able to switch between them. When you add a new hair, a couple of things happens. We create a new material for you, and we also change the default render settings for you. So we increase the subdivision and for the render and the viewport, so you automatically get a very nice beginning to your grooming process. So if we go ahead and with the density brush, we draw new hair. You can also notice you can change your material color right from this panel. So if we go here, we can see it shares the same color as the interface. It also does this for the viewport color. If you want to create complex hair shader, you can do that, and this color settings won't affect it anymore. It will just affect the viewport color. So for example, if we switch this to a diffuse color, changes to red. If we go ahead and change this, we can see it only affects the viewport and not the final render. If we duplicate this now, and we want this two hair system to use the same color, you can do that as you would do any object naturally in Blender. You select two and do Ctrl L to link materials, and now they share the same materials. So if you change the color of one, it will affect the other. You can also join curves inside Hairbrick quite easily. You just select two hair curves and join. And this is quite handy in situations where you want to manage you want to kind of work on separate parts separately, and then when you're done, you can combine them easily. So that's the management system. So let's look into the global tools. So what are global tools? Global tools consist of essential tools which every hair system should consist of, which are the children hair and the radius and parameters of your hair, the shape of your hair. So if we are to create a new hair and then enable children, we provide you automatically with children hairs. So you have the access to use the interpolated or the simple children hair. There are a couple of ways which you could create hairs inside Hairbrick. You could go right into the sculpt mode using the density or add brush to create a new hair, or you could use the generate hair. So if we click on the generate hair, it's going to generate new hairs on the selected object. And here you can play with parameters like length, density, and the amount of control point. We also give you easy access to paint different sections of your hair. So you can click on new. It will help you create new image. So let's give this 20 by 4, or we'll just leave it as its default. And we could either choose white or black color. It doesn't matter. So if we click OK, we can see how it looks. I think we chose a gray color. So let's see that. So we can increase the strength and make it completely white. So what you just saw there is that we set it up that you can get a gray channel. So there's a 0.5% where if you don't want the density to be much in that area, you can achieve that with Hairbrick. So let's say we want this to be black, and black means the density of the hair is set to 100%, and we want this to be less dense. So you can always have that that ability to kind of create your hair with nice distribution to create nice starting point for your grooming. Once you're done, it's important you apply this to be able to access the grooming capability. So once you apply that, you can go straight in and start grooming your hair. So like I mentioned, we do a couple of things when you click on the new hair. So we enable some render settings, and we also switch from strand to strip. This is because we are going to add the hair radius for you automatically, and you can come here and immediately start tweaking the hair radius. So you could set the minimum factor to 0 to give you a nice taper, and we basically control the shapes of how it's going to turn out looking in your final render. So like I mentioned, a couple of things. When you're working with the Hairbrick add-on, we provide you a nice texture access. So rather than setting up all your textures, you can just click on this brush icon and it does that for you. Sets up the right image for you, the right UV, and also switch it from material to single image, which will take more time to kind of set up yourself. And you can either select the curve to go into this mode or the object itself. So like I said, we treat the object and the curve as one object to make it easier to manage especially when you're dealing with a complex character grooming scheme. With all of this will have given you a decent knowledge on how you can go about starting off with Hairbreak. So let's go into the modifiers panel. What are modifiers? Modifiers, which is where the name Hairbreak is derived from, basically stacking system. So depending on how you stack some modifiers, that will determine how your output will come out. So let's say we are getting some interception right here and we want to prevent that. So what we would need for this to fix this is a collision system. So let's go ahead under the effects, which you can see if you click on add hair modifier, and this only becomes visible when you have a hair on your object. If we click on add new, we can see we have 3 sections. We have effects, stylings, and operations. Effects consist of things you want to apply on top of your styling of your hair, like accessories. You want to apply blend effect, collision, cutting the hair, dirt, implant, instance, length, and just cool things you can add. You have styling where you can apply braids, clumps, coily hair, noise, roll. We have simpler variation of each braid. So for braids, we have a more complex braid, which is probably more compute intensive, and we have the simpler version of the braid in case you want to, you don't want to kind of stress your system. We also have operations. Operation consists of just helpful tools that you can either apply or just use for your final render. So for example, you can apply mirror on this. We could either choose the Y or X location. So that's one operation, and you can easily apply all of this as you would any natural modifier in Blender. So apply, duplicate, move up, move down. You can apply all presets. You can remove, you can create new presets. These are some saved preset I have here. You can disable all the modifiers visibility in the viewport and render, maybe if your scene is getting slower, and you can remove all. So let's create, let's just go over some cool ones. Before we do that, I will go to the hair radius, which is a global setting, and then reduce it some more to make it smaller. So like I said, I want to prevent this interception, so I'm going to add collision and select it, and as you can see, it fixes that, and it also gives you parameter to control how much it's going to influence that. You can invert the collision and leave it as it is. So if you want to add like noise, so we can add a simple noise, and the parameters are accessible to you. So you only see the settings which you have selected. You won't see everything all but just on your face. So if you select solution here in the solution property, you can see all the settings. And let's say you have simple noise here, and let's add like a clump, and you delete it. So you can come here and search for that clump parameter, and you can still access it here. So let's switch this to noise. So these are ways you can switch modifiers that you already have, maybe from a different object. So if we have 2 objects sharing this noise parameter, we can see here that it shows 2, so multiple objects are sharing the same parameters. Yeah, this add-on presents you with multiple ways to achieve various effects. So let's give an example of that. So let's make sure you have your object before clicking on the plus. So we'll add a simple hair. I'm going to set the length to 1 and give it some more points. So we have this simple hair, and we want to create a braid out of it. Okay, and then we just go ahead and add. Let's use the simple braid for now. So if we add a simple braid, we can see it turns that little line to braid, and we can play with the height and the scale. We can just uniformly scale it up, the braid frequency, the braid knot, and resolution. So what's missing from this? Basically, we need more instances of this to be able to use this effectively, or for it to be able to be described as a braided hair. And none of this simple parameter provides that. So what we need is the children. So we can add more children, and let's set the radius to like 0.03 to be able to get that. So if we set this to 0.03, so we have more instances of that. And if we increase the radius to 0.6, increase the radius some more and add more children, and just fine tune this some more, you can see we start getting the braid. So let's reduce the frequency so it feels uniform, and there we go, we have a braid. So that's one way to achieve a braid. So for the next one, the advanced one, we can just add a braid, and it comes with its own children system. So there's no need for that children hairstyle. So we can play with the radius, the amount to create a braid. And there are lots more parameters to play with, which is what you get from the default braid rather than the simple braid. So this presents you with lots of options and lots of ways to kind of play and break things till you create the type of hairstyle which you want. Now we'll be creating a real world situation where we have to groom this character. First thing we want to make sure is that the character UV maps are created and adequate. So let's go to UV editor with your object selected, and we can see this asset already has a nice UV map. Next, we want to make sure and check the name of our UV, because Hairbricks cares about your UV map. So let's create a new hair system. And if we click on our children and we go to interpolated, you can see we have name UV. So you want to make sure the UV name is the same as your object's UV name. If you don't have that correctly, you might get some weird effects. Okay, so let's create a simple buzz cut for this guy. So we have our hair created, so we can either select the character or our hair. So we're gonna select the character and then generate hair. So right now we have this weird effect, so it's important we apply the rotation and scale of our character anytime in Blender. So once we apply that, we can see we have our hair strands just placed all over the place. So let's create a new mask to mask out the areas we want the hair to be generated from. So we are going to create new and call this top hair. I'm going to give this 20 by 48 and leave the color. I'm going to switch the color to white. Click OK. So white means it's going to be empty. You can always invert that if you choose to work any other way. So let's click on this brush icon. It's going to take us straight into the sculpt, the texture paint mode. And let's switch our brush to draw. So you can switch your brush by pressing T and selecting any right brush for you. So I'm using the draw brush and you bringing out this header, which you can right click here, header, show those settings. So we're going to set the brush strength to 1 and make sure we have the X symmetry turned on. And we're going to switch it from white to black. Okay, so if you're happy with this, you can do save all image, and this saves the image inside the blend file. So we can play with the length, and depending on what you're creating, you choose the length. So I'm just going to go with 0.1. And with the control points, I'm going to set this to 15. This is basically like subdividing each point. The more the control points, the more details you can apply when you're grooming it. And the density is self-explanatory, the amount of points which you want. So I feel I want to edit this part, so I'm going to sample the white color and clean out this point. Okay, so now we can go ahead and apply this. We're going to go into the grooming and get our comb brush, and with X symmetry turned on, we can start grooming. I'm going to use projected brush this time because I want to get everything all at once. So we can see the hair are intersecting, so we can use the fourth collision. Sometimes it's a bit buggy for Blender, so you can solve that by using head bricks collision system, and that tends to work much better. So I'm going to turn off symmetry for now since I don't need it anymore, and then we can style the hair. Good. So if you're happy with what you want, you can go ahead. If you want to smooth it out some more, you can add the smooth modifier. It kind of smooths everything out. Any uneven stuff that you didn't get right, it can assist you with that. You can increase the smooth one, then shape. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and apply this modifier. So you can move this above the collision or below. So it seems like if I apply this smooth without the collision, it's going to not give me desirable effects. So I can apply all modifiers, so we retain that. You can always add more collision as much as you want. So let's play with the radius of the hair. So I'm going to reduce this to 0.02, and I want some taper because right now it's just sharp. So I'm going to set this to 0.001. So it kind of tapers out. Next, I need some children, so I'm going to enable the children. We can use simple children. I want to use interpolated for more smoother or interpolated distribution of the hair. We need a mask for that, so we can just select the image mask we created earlier and then increase the density of it to get our interpolated hair. Couple of cool features that comes with this. You can use enhanced guide curve. What this does is it gives you an enhanced version of your guide curve. I thought it was cool and I added it. If you want like a nice tube effect, so you can see larger size of the guide curve with the children, because it might be hidden and you cannot identify your guide curve. You can use the enhanced guide curve. So I'll turn that off. And here we go. We have our hair. We can go ahead and style it now. But before we do that, let's kind of fill it out. Let's fill up the rest. So for the rest, I'm going to create a new hair system. I will just generate hair too. So I'm going to create a new image and call this side. Leave it at white and click OK. So we can just jump right into the texture paint with the draw. I'm going to switch it to black. So once you're happy with this, you can increase the density if you please. And I'm going to reduce the strength to 0.05. And then let's go ahead and apply that. I'm also going to go ahead and add the collision and maybe the smooth. So if you find yourself using a feature always, so let's say we add collision and smooth, you can easily add this to preset and call this smooth or start, and go ahead and apply that. So let's remove everything, and then we can go to start, and we can always add that automatically. So we have our collision surface, and now we can start grooming. So I think we're lacking some hairs here. So we can actually use the density brush, check on length, shape, and poly count with symmetry turned on, and just grow some more hair here. So the place is not sparse. Okay. So we can go ahead and add, play with the hair radius. So there, and I'll shrink that down. So we'll not worry about this since we're using interpolated hair. reduce 0.2. So let's enable children interpolated hair and use the side as the metric for that. So I'm going to paint in some more black there, or we could do that with this hair itself. As you can see, you can select the curve and it automatically knows what you're trying to do. So let's do the same for this. Okay, I'm gonna return off the smooth what we get. So we probably don't need this mode for this instance. Okay, so the next I want to kind of fade this to give us a nice buzz cut. To do that, I'm going to add effect trim. I want to trim it basically. So you can use this to trim the entire hair, or you could use a mask to control that. So let's create new mask. Click on OK. So this doesn't have invert. I'm gonna make it all black. Invert it. Probably I'm gonna add the invert feature for this. So basically, when you get this, it gets like updated like every few weeks. The notes gets updated and worked on. So I want to paint in white in areas that I want to be trimmed. And this uses a not just a black and white, there's a gradient value between it. So currently we're getting like a white and black transition, so we want it to have some gradient, so we're going to create that with a fall off. So it's going to give us something that looks like this. Okay, so we're going to use that. Create a nice gradient, right? And here we go. We have our gradient. You can always move the collision after or before, or even add a new collision system. So let's use the trim and play with the fall off to see how much more we want it to go away. Like I said, you can make them share the same material, and we can change that material to black. So for the top hair, let's add some clumping. You can know you have the right hair selected through this, so it updates you with the right hair selection. So we can add some clumping and play with the distance if that is 1. Okay. Let's add a roll. Just break it up even some more. We can mess up the orientation. Just playing with random settings. The most values can be pushed more than their soft limit. So let's reduce the factors slightly. Let's increase the density of the hair some more. To 30. Here we go. So I think we painted off here. Just remove that. There you have it. You have your hair. And it should just work automatically since the hair reduce is set up to allow you just to set it up immediately. So that's it for this video. I hope it was informative. So if you want this add-on, go to Blender Market and get your copy. Also, we have a Discord channel which you can join. The link is in the description, and also the link for the add-on is in the description. You will not only be getting a tool that solves your problem, you will also be helping an artist in pursuing your dreams. So thank you so much for watching this video. Bye bye for now. See you next time.